let's do this thing. I'll share my screen and then we'll kind of dive into it. So as I was saying at the beginning of this call, I know a lot of you guys have been kind of trickling in since then. I'm going to keep the chat open over here. I hop on a lot of coaching calls with you guys, and what I found to be the biggest constraint that we usually spend the most time on trying to fix is our sales process, and that's pretty typical with building any business. Like getting really good at sales is probably the biggest skill set and most important high value skill set you can develop, and it's something you're always going to be learning. I've closed well over several $1,000,000 at this point, and over the past couple of years. And I don't know how many sales calls I've taken, and I'm still learning how to get better at sales. You'll never like get to a point where like, oh, I'm good, I know how to sell, I don't need to keep learning. So it's one skill set you're going to always be developing. So I hop on a lot of one-on-ones with you guys, and what I found is sales is the biggest constraint. We spend a lot of time reviewing sales calls, and I found a ton of commonalities that I find with all of you guys. So I figured it'd be productive to go through what these common mistakes are that I'm seeing being made in our sales calls and our sales scripts, and they're just kind of hashing them out right now. Okay. So hopefully you guys all have pen and paper. This is going to be one of those calls where I highly encourage you to write this stuff down. All right. You're probably also going to want to maybe watch this back because we're about to shed a ton of really good sauce. So, all right. Let's go through these one by one, right? So number one, not diving deep into the pain at all. So I see a lot of you guys kind of go through the script and you're doing just that. You're like reading off the script. We don't understand the script. We're just kind of going one by one. And what I see is you guys will ask the question, and then, you know what, just for reference, let me have the script up here on the side. Oh my goodness, all these. Okay. What is happening? Here we go. Dude, all these Zoom pop-ups are so annoying. Okay. Okay. So I have the script up here, and we can use this as a reference point to kind of go back and forth. Okay, so what I see happen a lot is we will ask the question, and then as soon as they respond, we'll go to the next question instead of listening to what they're responding with and then addressing it and reflecting before proceeding. Okay, so right here, for example, I guess the best place to start is, what would you say right now is the biggest challenge in the business? Or like, what's not working at the level you feel like it could be? And they'll respond with something pretty vague, right? Because all these guys, these business owners are not marketers. That's why they're talking to you. That's why they're talking to you. They need your help as the expert. Okay. Don't be an order taker. Actually give them the results they need and give them the solution they need, which will bring me to another point later on. But so they'll usually respond with something pretty vague, like, yeah, man, I saw your video content. I'd love to get more videos. And right now we just need some more leads. Super broad. Okay. What most of you guys are doing is going, okay, cool. Is there anything else? Maybe they say something else and you're like, awesome. Well, what are you currently doing? We should be spending like 15 minutes just on this right here. Most of you guys spend like 3 to 4. Okay. Well, yeah, we just need more leads and we need better video content. And I thought we'd talk to you. Okay, cool. That makes sense. More leads, better video content. I guess what makes you think better videos would help you get more leads? Well, I feel like our current ads we're running and our current videos just aren't working super well. And like they do a bad job. They're not high quality. They do a bad job at really like communicating why we're different and all that stuff. And plus we just post organically and like, it just doesn't seem really predictable. Like, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Right. So that's one example of diving deeper. So we need to be diving deeper into the pain. Do not proceed until we know exactly what the problem is in their business. All right. 2, not understanding the script. Okay. You guys should not be taking the script, putting it in the lower third of your screen with the Zoom call in the top third of the screen, and reading off the script for the first time on your first sales call. Okay. You guys should be reviewing
Why not? Come on.
understanding it Rylan, yeah, I'm muting you. You're never allowed to talk. Never make sure you don't ever bring it up for the first time. I think one of you guys did it and it was so bad. And I'm like, well, what do you expect? Like, you don't understand the script, you're just reading off it. Use it as a guideline and a framework. Do not read it word for word and not understand why you're asking the questions that you're asking. Okay. So go through it, understand the structure, right, of why we do this, and then understand how to probe after every response that you get. Okay. So make sure you're actually reviewing the sales script. Two, this kind of goes into the first one. We're not asking nearly enough why questions. I'll give you an example here too. Wow, all these tabs. Somebody send me their sales call real quick. Like, put a Fathom call in the link.
Or do you want me to or no?
Not you, Nolan.
God damn.
Somebody drop their Fathom call real quick in the chat. Ben, I love you. Great, let's do it. Let's see how good Ben is at doing this. All right, so I'm gonna go to his Fathom. I'm literally gonna go to the transcript and I'm gonna type in why. Let's see how many times Ben asks why. There's one. That's why I've learned, okay, but that's not in the context that we're looking for. He's not asking a question. I don't see it once. You guys want to hear something crazy? So my sales coach that I pay a lot of money to, by the way, he just helps me with sales. That's all he does. He hopped on. He's like, send me one of your transcripts. He was like, our close rate dropped a little bit. We're hovering around like 25, 30%. I don't know why. He's like, send me one of your transcripts. And wait, hold on. Oh, Loxley sent it. Oh, I clicked on Loxley's. That's funny. Okay, yeah, I clicked on yours, but his popped up and I think I opened his. Okay, so sorry, Loxley. So I don't see why in here. So I sent him one of my transcripts here, my Fathom from a sales call, and my sales coach went in and typed in why and just started scrolling, and I didn't see anything on my end. And I was like, what's he doing right now? And he was like, bro, you didn't ask why once. Why is that a problem for you? Why is that important to you? Why do you think that's the solution to get you out of this for your business? Why are you just now coming to me to talk about this? And I was like, holy shit. And he was like, dude, I want you to ask why all the time on your next call. And guess what happened? The next call, you type in why, my whole right side is highlighted. And guess what? We closed them and we collected paid in full. So you guys need to be asking why. Even if you think you know what their answer is, that's also a big thing too, is stop assuming and start asking. Especially when you guys start getting to the point where you're taking sales calls day after day, which is the goal, right? Especially like Nolan, you can probably attest to this, dude. You're probably taking 2 sales calls daily. When you just keep doing the same sales calls, it becomes so repetitive and it becomes mind numbing because you're going through
really boring.
And it gets really boring. You're hearing the same pain points, the same problems. You already know how to solve their problem for the most part, right? Ideally, hopefully you should. And so it's really hard to not assume. It's really hard for us to listen to what they say and not assume that we know what their problem is. Okay. And the best way to sell is by getting the prospect to tell you what they think is going to work and to get the prospect to sell themselves, not you sell them. Okay. So stop assuming and start asking everything, even if you think it's obvious what the response is going to be. Brings me to another point. You should only be speaking what percentage of the time? Who knows? What percentage of the call? This is the cool part with Fathom. Fathom tells you what percentage of the entire call you are speaking and what percentage of the call the prospect speaking. Who knows? What percentage of the time should you be talking on the call?
Between like 5 and 10%.
Yep. Under 10%. I think that's greater than. I think I got that backwards. But keep it under 10%. All right. Stop talking. Stop selling yourself. Stop justifying. Stop doing that. Just ask. Okay. And if somebody comes back and they're like, yeah, well, we need better quality videos to sell our product more, our service more. Instead of coming back and going, oh, dude, 100%, I totally understand. Like, we've spent a ton of time making videos for clients and like it helps a ton with their conversions and this. Shut up. Instead, ask, Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I guess why though? Why video? Like, why do you think video is the solution right now? And then they sell themselves. Okay. All right. And at any point, guys, if you have any questions, please just drop them in the chat. I got them up in the corner here, so I'm seeing all of them. Here's a good one. Okay. Selling clients what they want, not what they need. Who knows what I mean by that?
Am I allowed to speak? Am I allowed to speak during this or no?
You're allowed to,
What was that?
You're allowed to speak. You're good. Go ahead.
So selling clients what they want, not what they need, is like if someone's like, oh yeah, I want a really cool video to go on my website, and then you'd be like, oh fuck yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. So
When it doesn't drive any traffic or revenue or
here
anything.
can relate to that. Like prospects coming to them and saying, I want this video, and this video. And then your response is, okay, sounds good. What kind of video do you want? How do you want it to look? Like, et cetera, et cetera. What's your budget? And then you try to sell them those videos. How many of you guys are order takers? How many of you feel like you've done that before? Everyone should be raising their hand because I am too. I've done the same thing. Okay. Don't ever do that shit again. If somebody tells you they want this video, how much is it going to cost? What should your response be? Nolan, you can't say anything on this one.
Is it, I just don't do this kind of thing, man. I'm probably not a good fit for you. And
no, we're jumping way too fast on that one. If somebody says, I want this video, this video, can you help me? What do you say?
Why?
Why do you want
why?
Who said that? A bunch of you guys. Why? Adrian, big caps. Why? Why? 100%. I want these videos and I want these videos. Okay, cool. Why?
When?
That's it. Cole, you say when? When do you want it? It'll cost this much. Let's do it. Yeah, why? Like, why do you want a brand message video? Well, because I just feel like it. Here's another thing you'll notice. If you type in the word feel on the transcripts of these Fathom calls, you'll probably see it 500 times for the prospect's end. I feel like I need this. I feel this isn't working. I feel this is the best solution for me because of XYZ. It's all emotions. They don't have any data. KPIs, what are those? They don't know. They're not marketers. That's why they're talking to you, right? So start being the expert and guide them through the actual solution they need to solve the problem in their business. Okay, we got to stop selling the flight to the destination, and instead we need to sell the vacation. Where are we going and why are we trying to get there? And I'll tell you what, guys, it goes far deeper than just getting more leads. Okay, so start selling clients what they need, not what they want. Because what you'll find is when you start asking, well, why do you want those? Well, because I feel like this, and this. Okay, well, what do your current KPIs show? Well, we don't, what does that mean? We don't have any. Like, what is that? Well, so we're not running any ads. We're just posting organically. Okay, so here's the reality, man. Like, you don't really need a brand message video because you're not getting any traffic to your website right now. You're not running any ads. So we can make a video, we can put on your website. It can be the best video in the world, but if we're not getting traffic to the site, what's the point? Right? It's like putting up a big billboard in the middle of a desert. Like, why? There's no one there. And here's the other thing. Right now, it's not really a communication problem. It's an awareness problem. Like, people just don't know about you guys because we're not running ads and you're posting and praying and hoping the algorithm is going to put it in front of the right people. So what you need is XYZ, paid ads, top of funnel video assets. Now, you're not going to ask why, have them give a response and immediately give them the solution. That, like, don't actually do that. But what the picture I'm trying to paint here is that we need to sell them what they need, not what they want. And the way we sell them what they need is by asking all the why questions we possibly can to get context on where they currently stand in their business and the information they do have and what they don't have. So we can then accurately diagnose their problem and then give them the solution for it using videos as the vehicle to deliver that solution. Does that make sense? Which brings me to my next point. Stop selling videos. And instead sell what?
Drugs.
The dream.
Who let Cole in here?
Results.
Didn't
Results.
we say that we were gonna block him? Dude, goodness gracious. Okay. Results. Good. Results. Okay. Sell outcomes. 100%. Results and outcomes. Nobody buys a video because they want to buy a video. They only buy videos because they believe, through whatever beliefs that have been instilled in them, that videos are the solution to their problems, which is more awareness, more lead flow, growing their revenue in their business. Okay, Rylan made a mistake on a call with a whale yesterday. Hold that thought. Let's come back to that here in a minute and talk about it. So start focusing on the outcomes. Okay, you guys know how much I would talk about videos when we're on calls with agency client prospects? Like how often I talk about logistics of filming a video, how we go about filming it, what kind of gear we use, anything about the video at all. Dude, I spend maybe 60 seconds, if that. I'm like, okay, so at the end of the day, like we get to the pitch, we're going to do this for you. We're going to film these ads. We're going to get them up and running. And then you're going to have your first leads delivered within 1 week of filming. And then we're going to shoot for $20 lead costs. And at the end of the day, keep the acquisition cost under $800. We're going to try to get you a 16x ROAS. That's kind of what we've seen by working with the other people that we work with. Oh, and by the way, we use videos to do that. Whoa, that sounds a little bit more valuable than, yeah, we'll make a really cool video for you. Why? Because it's an objective black and white outcome, which ultimately leads to their long-term goal. And it's not a subjective outcome. The reason most of you guys are having a hard time closing is because they cannot bridge the gap at the end between the videos that you're selling and the results they want, because they either failed to communicate exactly what they want in terms of results or outcomes, and or you did a bad job at properly explaining how the videos will be implemented to actually achieve the outcomes that they want. And I'll tell you right now, you're not gonna, you can't ask clients, what's your goal? We want to double our revenue. Cool. And then you use that as the outcome to sell them. At the very end, you'll be like, yeah, man, so we're gonna make these videos and we're gonna help you get to this goal to double your revenue. They're still like, what? Like, I don't see how that's gonna happen. Like, I don't know if I believe that, right? Anyway, makes sense? Yeah, by the way, what Nolan just said, that's huge. That's one thing that we added to this script, the revised script, that I think, and you know, I think he'd attest to it too, really, really helps increase the close rate. Because when he talks about the pitch and he tells them the timelines and he says, we're going to get your first qualified leads within 1 week of filming, people get on the edge of their seat and they're like, whoa, what? Because here's another point. You guys hear me talk about this a lot. The average churn of 99% of video agencies is about 2 to 3 months, meaning you'll close a client, but then after 2 to 3 months, the client will stop paying you and leave and go somewhere else. Why? Because they get excited at the beginning and they close with you because they think videos are the solution to their problem. And then what happens is they see their bank account go down, but their revenue doesn't go up after 2 to 3 months, and then they churn out. Okay. And the other thing too is a lot of you guys will pitch, or not you guys, but other people will pitch 3, 4, 5 month retainers. And they'll be like, yeah, well, and the client prospect will be like, why do we need 4 or 5 months? Well, because it'll take 4 or 5 months before we start seeing results, because we got to let the algorithm work. We got to let your organic content get enough traction and all this stuff. And in the back of their head, they're like, Dad, I need something tomorrow. Like, I need something next week. I need leads start flowing through. I'm not going to post and pray. Right? That's not a strategy. So that's what's really cool. It's like, oh, dude, you're going to have your first leads within 1 week, guaranteed. And then a lot of you guys are thinking, well, how can I actually guarantee that? Because I haven't done it before. That's why you guys run ads for yourselves. So you see when you launch it, oh, snap. Okay, so it is this easy to get leads. And then you have the proof and the confidence to go sell to other people because you just did it for yourself. Anyway.
That's the biggest thing, is confidence and conviction when saying that, I'd say.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
You mind me sharing a thought, Ridge?
Yes, please.
The interesting thing with the way that Connor and I have built up the agency over the last 6 months has been, instead of focusing on ads for realtors, which I know can be profitable, we've been focusing primarily on organic content, especially for brokerages. We've actually been able to produce revenue for brokerages organically. But what I've noticed is some of the clients we have, like we have a big restaurant chain in Utah called Jurassic Tacos, and those shoots take probably 10 times the amount of effort that our simple 1 hour, 8 podcast reel studio shoots take. And I think what happens is often we want to do these insane commercials, but those actually take 80% of the amount of our time compared to the 20% that a simple ad and that amount of effort would take. And you don't even need to talk that much about creative with an ad. It's really, really simple and straightforward. And those usually produce significantly more results. So I think simplifying things so that, like, we're bringing on a creative director right now because we need a lot of help with those clients that we have that need the creativity. But they take way more time, and we're just like, we just need to focus on our basic, simple model that takes the least amount of time but produces the most revenue the easiest.
Yeah. And what's your monthly price point for your agents right now? Like the package price?
Yeah, so it's $750 a month for 8 reels, and an extra $250 is an upsell for like management of the account, and then it's like $1,500 for like extra content, you know, YouTube stuff like that.
But here's why that's a really good offer, right? So you sell outcomes, right? You run ads. That's the biggest thing with like service businesses. But for agents, they're not running ads. You guys are just making organic content, right? Okay. The reason that works really well is why? Why do you guys think that offer sells? Because you guys are doing what you're doing. You're over 20K a month, right? Or you guys
Yeah,
just
yeah, we've wavered a little bit, but we're back up to 20K as of yesterday.
and then what are your profit margins around right now?
Our current profit margins are about 40%, or
Okay.
sorry, 60%.
Okay, yeah, big difference there. Okay, 60, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so why do you guys think that offer does really well? Like they run ads. You guys have, you know what your acquisition cost is right now with the ads you're running?
It actually hasn't been 100% through ads because of the way we've set up our referrals, but our ads when we were running really good ads, it was we got like $5,000 a monthly or $10,000 of MRR from $2,000 of ad spend.
Yeah, okay, so 5x return. Yeah, so yeah, that's good. Okay. So why do you guys think that offer sells really well? Because they're not really focused on like quantifiable run ads, KPIs. It's just like they are selling the content.
Real estate agents are vain as hell and they like to see themselves on social media. That's why.
That's true. So understanding your audience, right? And knowing that, hey, listen, they just want content, right? But 750, that's nothing. Like to other people, like, yeah, okay, sure, 750 here. I'll pay you.
If a real estate agent can bring in one transaction through social media a year, it more than pays for our services.
There you
That's
go.
what Seth is always selling. Have you guys heard of an SOI? So that's sphere of influence. That's like a major term in the real estate community. And the concept, even Seth says this, is that every real estate agent only needs, I think he said like 30 or 50 close people to be able to make $300,000, $400,000 a year. So the whole concept with real estate agents is that you get them on a low price, but throughout the entire year, they're staying top of mind to their entire audience, their personal friends and family. And that's all they really need to be able to sell an extra 5 homes, you know, which they get a 5x return on their investment, basically.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm actually building out a program from the ground up for one of the biggest brokerages here locally. And we're building out a program where we coach other agents how to double their production within a 6-month time frame. And this is also a testament to why it's so important to niche and to like work with a certain like a specific industry, because you guys know agents so well at this point. Like, you know what makes them tick, you know what they value, what they care about. You know how to actually get them results. And with agents, it definitely is more of a long-term play, because there's so many agents that are out there, right? And so like, if you want to stay top of mind, you just need high volume of content to get posted out there, right? And because the price point's so low, like I could see that being easy to close with high, and it's turn and burn. You can build systems because you're doing the same thing for everybody. It's podcast content, whatever you guys are doing there. So that's a good offer, right? That's easily scalable.
Our goal this year is 100 to 250 real estate agents, averaging $1,000 an agent, and there's 20,000 agents in Utah. So that's an easy like 100 to 250 a month.
Yeah, that's baller. Why did you guys stop your ads?
Trying
to figure out systems first.
Yeah, basically we got too many clients, so yeah.
Okay. All right, sounds good. That's cool though. Any other points before I continue on this stuff?
No, sir.
Cool. That was great. Thanks for sharing that, dude. Don't call me sir ever again. Okay, let's do next unless it's at night in the bedroom. Agreeing to okay. here's the other thing. So agreeing to objections at the end instead of handling them. So I see this a lot where like at the end, you'll get to the very end, you'll pitch the price, and then they'll be like, yeah, okay, sounds good. So like just send me a quote, send me, you know, this stuff in an email. I'm gonna go chat with my business partner. And then most of you guys will be like, 100%. Okay, sounds good. Like, what's the best email? I'll send it over. Like, let's schedule another call. Instead of slowing down, pulling back and going, yeah, man, I guess I could probably do that and put this stuff together for you guys. I guess, you know, I totally understand you need to chat with your partner. What do you think he's going to say? Like, does he know you're on this call with me? How does he feel? Is he supportive of like what you guys are doing? Okay, cool. So let's say you chat with him and he's just like, you show him this stuff and he's just like, no, this is horrible. Like, this is a bad investment. I don't think we should need to scale our business. I don't want to make more money. Then what do you think you're going to do? So handle the objections instead of agreeing. Okay, especially if we're trying to do a one call close here. Now there is an art to it because you guys do not want to be pushy, but it is important to make sure we're efficient. We respect our time and we respect their time. We're all busy here. And it's important to ask, legit questions like this. And it also is in your tonality. Most of the time you can really kind of say whatever you want so long as it's delivered effectively. But if you guys come back and you're like, yeah, man, I guess like, what's he going to say? That's a down tone. Very different than coming back and saying, yeah, I guess that makes sense. What do you think he's going to say about it? A little more of a curious tone. It's more inviting. Okay. Breaks down the defenses a little bit more. So it's all on how you deliver it as well. But stop agreeing to objections at the end and going with it, and you need to handle it. Okay. Next, I didn't write that part down. Sorry, guys, but we'll go to the next part. Separate subjective and objective outcomes. Usually when people think you're selling videos, their outcome is subjective, AKA I want to look more professional. And this also goes into how you position yourselves before the call, how you frame yourself and who you help and how you help them before they hop on the call with you. Because a lot of times if they're pre-framed to think that you're just selling videos, they're going to think of your videos as the offer, and they're going to correlate the value and whatever they're willing to invest into that video instead of the outcome. Okay. So usually at the beginning, when we ask like, what's the biggest problem in the business, we start talking about their pain points and their struggles and their constraints. They're going to kind of talk about subjective outcomes, which are, well, we want to look more professional. We want to be, have more eyeballs on us, and we just want our videos to look better. And then going back to another point earlier, a lot of you guys will just be like, yeah, okay, totally makes sense. And then just go to the next part in the script instead of spending some time to talk about that. So if somebody said that, Nolan, what would you respond with? I just want to look more professional.
Oh, trying to look professional. Why is that important to you?
Yeah, that's it. Well, why is that important? Well, because like, I feel like if I do that, then also notice how I said feel again. I feel like if I do that, then people are going to, want to work with us more.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I feel like right now our content's not super professional, and like, we don't have the right kind of content. We're also like not getting it in front of the right people, I don't think. And therefore people aren't really paying attention to us. And I feel like if we do this, it'll be able to get us more leads.
What do you mean by like the right type of content though?
Dude, see, he just keeps digging. Like, he keeps probing. But notice he's not just saying why. Like, he's not being annoying. Like, he's asking questions like, why that? Like, why did you just say that? And then we really start to peel back the layers of the onion to really pull out what the actual problem is here. Make sense? Okay.
Also, just saying what do you mean by that is just as important as saying like why, because sometimes if you don't say why properly with like an uptone and the curiosity, it can come off as like assertive and rude in a way. So just saying like what do you mean by that also will make somebody explain further, because then they'll think, oh, I didn't explain enough for him to understand it. So then you'll get deeper that way.
Other thing, rushing the sale instead of leading the prospect. Okay. Too many videographers go straight into pitch mode without properly diagnosing their real problem. The best salespeople lead conversations with strategic questions, not just sales pitches. So slow down. Okay. Slow down and then guide them towards realizing and having them admit that they need you. Okay. I can't tell you how many times I've seen you guys get to the end and like we do the 1 to 10 close and they're like, I'm a 10 out of 10. I definitely need to do this. And then you start getting excited. And then what happens? Your adrenaline goes up. Your heart starts racing a little bit. You start getting excited. It's like, okay, I think I can get this person in the back of your head. And then you start talking faster. You start talking more and you start assuming. And instead of really guiding them and having them sell themselves, you start going to pitch mode a little bit. You listen less and you start telling them how it's going to bring them a bunch of results and this and that. And then, we kind of ruin the sales there. or the sale there. So instead, what we need to do, maintain composure, also limit your guys' body movement. Okay. I see a lot of like turning around, like moving around, and like a lot of looking all over the place, and stoic. Just sit. Okay.
That's a huge thing. That's a massive thing.
Because what does that display when you guys are moving around a lot? Or we talk really fast?
Insecure.
Anxiety or worry.
Yep.
Seth actually pointed that out. I used to have my camera significantly higher than it is right now. I used to like sit back more. I used to be like turned this way. And he's like, okay, you need to face the camera. Your body needs to fill the frame quite a bit. Your shoulders need to look more broad, and you need to be like looking at the person in the camera if possible. And that's been a big difference.
And my sales coach, Nolan and I had to make that change too, because we had our cameras off to the side, and he's like, bro, there's a lot of disconnect right out the gate when your camera's off to the side. I was like, but I want it to look really cool and like cool lighting and like side angle, and like this is my good side. And he was like, no, put it straight forward. So yeah, so face forward, minimize body movement, ask questions, slow down your speech. Okay. You're just there, like act like just a curious freaking toddler asking a ton of questions. Okay. When in doubt. So kind of already talked about this. I don't need to spend too much time on it, but just like kind of a different nuance of it. Asking surface level questions instead of problem awareness questions. So if you only ask, what kind of videos are you looking for? You're missing the opportunity to, again, uncover the real pain that's associated with it. So instead, we need to use strategic questions like, tell me more about how you're currently getting leads. What's your biggest challenge with that? Why is that method not working at the level that you want it to? What is the financial impact of not having this strategy in place? What is the COI of not doing this? The cost of inaction, right? Well, I just want to wait a little bit. How many of you guys have heard that? Like at the end, towards you get the price. So I just want to wait a little bit, try this out, see how it goes, and then I'll reach out in like a month or so. Well, before you told me you're 10 out of 10, you know you need this. This is going to get you the results that you need a lot faster. So like, why delay that result? How much is it going to cost you an opportunity cost by not doing this right now? Okay. Number 3. It's not number 3. I don't know what number this is, but using logical justification instead of emotional triggers. Prospects make buying decisions based on emotion 100% of the time, and then they do what? They justify that decision with logic. Everything is emotional. There is no logical buying decision. It is all emotional that is then rationalized through logic, okay? So instead of just talking about your processes, emphasize how their life and business is going to change after working with you, okay? Kind of goes back into the concept that we have in the script here. I think it's in this one. Okay, so right here, right? So when you get into the pitch, there's 3 things we're going to focus on for a business like yours, okay? And then you're going to list them off. The cadence with the explanation is usually feature, logical benefit, emotional benefit. That's the cadence, okay? Feature, building high-performing ads in a predictable lead gen system. That's the feature. And then we're going to tie it back to what they told us before on the call, on the discovery phase. I remember before you were telling me, okay, we don't assume. This is why we ask all these questions, so we don't assume. We tie it back to, this is what you said. You were telling me how you were struggling with bad ad creatives in the past and agencies promising the world only to underdeliver because they couldn't do XYZ thing that you need. Okay. Logical benefit, emotional benefit. Emotional benefit. Through our system, we're going to ensure that you never have to worry about having unpredictability in your lead gen process. Okay. So make sure we tie back into the emotions. Okay. So instead of saying we create high quality ads that generate leads, say, imagine waking up to 10 qualified leads in your inbox every other morning without worrying about where the next one's going to come from. Now, unless they're spending like hundreds a day, they're probably not going to get 10 every morning, but you get the concept, right? All right, here's a big one. Ready? Not controlling the conversation. Now, what do I mean by that? I don't mean like controlling, right? But what I mean is controlling. Okay. Control the conversation, maintain the reins. When you guys are talking to business owners, especially ones that are making a lot of money, they're the whole time, it's just a back and forth of passing the baton. And there's not even passing, you're taking it from each other, right? The whole time when you're on a sales call, you're going back and forth with who has the reins and who doesn't. Okay. And it's really, really easy for inexperienced sales reps or, anyone doing sales to have them take it. And then you're too nervous or afraid to take it back. Okay. Now, what do I mean? What do I mean by that? Somebody give me an example. I want to make sure I'm not just talking the whole time here, but somebody give me an example of what that would look like.
Someone that has experience selling, immediately joining the call and saying, I already know what you're doing, man. Just tell me what the price is. Like how much is it going to cost me?
Yep. That's a good example. So what an inexperienced rep would do, or an inexperienced salesperson would do when somebody says that, it's like, listen, dude, I don't need this whole pitch. Like, just tell me what the price is. What's the inexperienced person going to do? Oh, yeah, for sure. It'll be this much. Does that work? Is that okay? Like, can you make that happen? Okay. Now, what should we do when somebody says that towards the end? You're getting ready to give the pitch. You're getting ready to explain to them how it's going to work. And they just say, honestly, dude, just how much is it going to cost me? How do you respond?
Oh, this is so good.
Go ahead, Nolan. Just you can go ahead. How would you respond?
Okay, wait, lay it out for me again.
Listen, like you get towards the end to the pitch, and maybe you're in the part where you're like, so like scale 1 to 10, where do you feel? And he interrupts you and he's like, listen, dude, just like tell me how much is it going to cost?
I'd be like, look, man, I mean, I'd love to tell you the price, but honestly, I want to make sure that you fully understand this process because we're as in the trenches as you are, really making sure that this is actually working for you. So just be honest with me, dude. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, if 10 is like, this is exactly what you need to help you get to XYZ goal, and 1 is like, I hate this kid, I'm going to jump off the call in just a second. Where do you feel like you fall in that line? And you can't say a 7.
Yeah. So reflect, understand, totally get it, respond to what they said, acknowledge it. Here's actually what I need, and this is why it's important. Does that make sense? So just tell me the price, man. I'd love to. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm really particular with who I work with, just because, due to the nature of what we have here, it's really one-on-one, and we're in the trenches with you. Like, we don't just hit play on some ads and say good luck. Like, we're building the business with you. And because of that, it's really important to me that you feel just as confident and excited in this process as I do. So it's kind of why I like to ask these questions. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So I guess, that being said, where do you feel like you fall on a scale from 1 to 10? Like, is this a 10 out of 10, exactly what you need? And then you pull it right back to where you were in the script. Okay.
What do you do? What do you do when you do that? You do a decent job at handling the objection like that, and then they say, okay, but still, man, I know what you're doing. I've read the Alex Hormozy books. I've read the Gary Vee books. Just tell me what the price is.
Yeah, that just goes to show they didn't listen to you. And that's also why I say, does that make sense? Before I continue, does that make sense? If they say no, then I'm like, okay, let me explain a little bit further. But they're not going to say that. Like, it makes sense, right? Like, dude, because you're maintaining control and you're putting yourself back in the authority position, dude. Like, I care a lot about who I work with. I don't just work with anybody. Like, we turn down quite a few people that talk with us just because we're not in alignment. So it's really important that we are in alignment. I guess you can understand that, right? They're not going to say no. If they say no, I'll be like, okay, I don't think this is a good fit then. But if they're going to say yes, it'd be like, okay, cool. So I guess that being said, where do you feel like you fall here? Because it's honestly true. Like, it's honestly really true. It's not just like a sales tactic. Like, honest to God, if you're not 100% like, this is what I need right now, I don't even want to tell you what the price is or try to pitch you on anything. Because the best clients that are the best for me to work with, that I love working with, are the ones that are 10 out of 10. This is what I need. I'm ready to go right now. Take my card. I don't deal with wishy-washy. I don't do, let me talk to you later. It's like, dude, if you're going to talk to me later, then just like go somewhere else. I don't know if I'd say it like that. It's a little rude, but you get the concept, right? Does that make sense?
You could also say, I'd love to give you a price. The only problem is I've never quoted anyone before. I've never filmed a video. I mean that if you haven't filmed a video before, that's
Luckily, I don't think anyone here has not filmed a video before, Colton. So I think we're good. Okay. So next up, giving proposals and sending them via email instead of closing on the call. Okay. If you guys send a proposal and they're like, just email me, and you're like, sure thing. And then you send the email, what is that opening up the door for?
You're getting ghosted, fool.
They're not going to hit you back up. They're gone. Okay. Which doesn't mean you don't have a good offer. It means that you just probably messed up somewhere in the sales process, didn't communicate effectively. They don't see the value. There's misalignment somewhere. Okay. And instead of really getting clear on what the actual objection is and pulling that out and handling it on the call, we just let it go. They don't communicate it. And then we send them an email and they just don't do anything. Right. Ridge needs to kick Cole. I know. I try to do it. Somehow he just keeps showing up. So make sure you control the next steps. Okay. You know, the whole BAM fam, book a meeting from a meeting. If we have to if we can't handle the objection and we just need to book another meeting, it's like, so be it. Don't be annoying and keep asking the same question. Don't do that. Like, if you try it, you attempt to handle it, you can't get it. They're like, dude, I have to talk to this person. Like, I have to get their go ahead and then I can move forward. And it's like, okay, so be it. How long do you need? 24 hours. Cool. How about tomorrow, 5 p.m. I'll move the call. We'll show up, make sure he's on the call as well. And then we'll make the decision of if we're going to move forward or not at the end of the call. Does that sound good? Cool. And then at least get something in the books for the next day. Worst case scenario. Okay. But that's also kind of why and this leads me to my next point that I'll get to in a minute. It's also why we handle the objections prior to the objections actually coming up. Okay. We are proactive with handling them. We're not waiting for them to come up. Okay. That's why we have the pre-call sequence where we let them know before the call, make sure all decision makers are here on the call. I don't like wasting time. I don't like playing games of telephone where I have an hour-long call with you and then you go only communicate 20% of it back to your person and then they have to ask questions and we hop on another call, when we could just make a decision within one call by having everyone here. Okay. I know you're busy. I'm busy too. Respect your time, respect mine. Let's have everyone on the call. Okay. So we do that prior, then we eliminate the objection of, I got to go chat with this person to make sure this works. You're not going to have that if they're all on the call. Right. So that's also why it's important. Like, what are the primary objections that you're getting, which is why we have that in the KPI tracker. So you can track what the objections are that you're commonly getting. And then we figure out, this is exactly what we did with Nolan when he flew out. We're like, what are the common objections that you're getting? And then how do we handle those before they even come up? How do we handle those prior to the call in the script before they even arise in the first place? Okay. Yep. Leads me to my next point. You guys love my beautiful handwriting. Not handling objections proactively. Okay. Most people will wait for them instead of addressing them first. So instead of waiting for, I need to think about it, instead say, a lot of clients I work with felt the same way before they saw how much the competitors were dominating with video. So let me ask, what's your biggest hesitation? Okay. Or even better, I need to think about it. Okay. Don't respond with, well, what do you need to think about? Okay. Like, we don't want to do that. Usually if somebody says, I need to think about it, there's a couple things. Either one, the price is too high, they can't afford it, or it's just uncomfortable. Okay. It's a price. Two, they need to something that you communicated before in the call just didn't line up and they're still confused and they don't see how it's actually going to help them get the result that they want. So there's a lack of belief that it'll actually work for them. Okay. Usually it's one of those two things. So I would bring that up. I'd be like, usually, man, like when people say they need to think about it, it's either price or it's either this. So like, I guess, which one do you think maybe we're leaning more towards? Okay. Or if somebody says, again, like handling objections proactively, if somebody lacks confidence this will work for them, they're like, I just don't really know if this is going to work for me. What do we do prior to that coming up in the sales script that will eliminate that objection? What phase in the script eliminates that? The 1 to 10 close. The 1 to 10 close. We ask them, scale from 1 to 10, how confident are you this is going to work for you? They're like, honestly, dude, I'm a 10. Perfect. Now at the end, they're not going to say, I just don't know if this is going to work for me. Or like, I don't really see. Well, I guess I'm a little confused, Brian. You told me earlier you're a 10 out of 10. Like, you know, this is going to work for you. So I guess what do you think changed between then and now? They're going to realize, you're right, that was silly. It's actually this. It's just the price is a little uncomfy. Okay, cool. That makes more sense. And then we can handle it. Any questions about that? All right. I think this is, yep, last thing, last one. Okay. Failing to isolate the objection. What do I mean by that?
Go into depth and examine it.
Close. Give me a little bit more. What does it mean to isolate the objection?
Yeah, handling each one at a time instead of like, you know.
Yep. So,
Agreed.
Nolan, role play with me real quick. I'm selling you video. You're a prospect. You're a roofing company. We'll get to the very end and give you the price, and then I need you to say, "Yeah, man, it's just like a little out of budget for us."
Okay. Yeah, man, it's just a little bit out of budget for us right now.
Sure. Yeah, I can understand that. I guess just out of curiosity, like let's say we were able to figure something out so we could get you the strategy to get you XYZ results, and we'd be able to figure out a way to get the price within your budget. If we were able to do that, price aside, is there anything else that would prevent you from moving forward right now?
I mean, I do definitely have to talk with Jeff. He's my well, actually, I won't do the partner thing on you. I do have to talk with Jeff. He's the finance guy, just like, really just make sure the numbers are okay. But I'm just not too sure on like, I guess like the process of like leads coming in, because we've tried Facebook ads before, but they didn't really bring in anything.
Okay, so guys, what are the 3 objections they have right now? Somebody list them out. What are the 3 things I need to overcome right now?
The finance guy, the price, and the ads didn't work in the past.
Boom, right there. Okay, so we're isolating those 3 things. Okay, gotcha. So let's assume chat with the finance guy. It's like, okay, we can make this number work. Finances, that's good to go. And then like, maybe we had a guarantee, or maybe we figure out exactly what. Dude, every time she does that, it throws me off. It's so annoying. Hey, chill out. Calm down. Let's assume we're able to solve these, figure them out. Is there anything else? Right? I just keep asking, is there anything else? So I can continue stacking what those things are preventing him. And I write them down too. Like I'm writing it down right now. He's got to talk to the finance manager. He's got to do this. He's got to do this. Is there anything else aside from those things? We solve them that would prevent you from moving forward. And you keep doing that until they get to the point of, no, honestly, it's just those things. Then we handle them. Okay. It's like, cool. So price, right? Say you go chat with your CFO or Jeff, whatever his name is. You go chat with him. And then he's like, dude, like we're within budget. This is good to go. And then we also, what was the other one? The other objection, was it?
It was price. I don't know. Ads didn't work in the past.
Oh, okay.
And
Don't know if it worked for me. Yeah. Okay. So help me understand a little bit before, how did the ads not work? Now, real quick, if you guys follow the script, that's not going to come up as an objection. Why? Because in the script, we ask, have you tried it? What have you tried in the past? And they're going to tell you, I used this team. It didn't work out. What do you mean by that? What kind of strategy you guys implement? What didn't work? Right? So that's an example of proactively handling the objection before it comes up. So if you guys actually follow the script, that's not going to be an objection he's going to have. So right now, all we have to deal with is price. Okay. So just to be clear, like, is it, we don't know what our budget is? Do we have a hard number, or is it like, we don't see the value? Let's assume you said you're a 10 out of 10 because you follow the script. You're going to get to the point where it's 10 out. No, this is going to work, dude. I just got to figure out how to make the money work.
yeah, no,
Right.
it's 100%. Like, I fully see how it could work for us. It's just, 7,500 is just kind of like just, with the cash flow right now, it's just a little bit too much, even though I'm a roofer and probably making 300,000 a month.
Sure. Totally understand. What number do we have to be at?
Man, I mean, like, if we can be around, like, I know it's 7,500 one time over the 4 months. But I mean, anywhere around like 2,000. I don't know if you guys break it up or anything.
Yeah. So if we were able to like get us to a point where we could get you under $2,000 right now, to get you started to get XYZ result? Are you saying like that'd be good and you'd want to move forward?
Yeah, that'd be amazing if you could do that.
Great. I'll break it up for you over 4 months, 1875 a month. What's your card info?
Let me go talk to the wife.
That's another one, right? Now that's why we isolate, because he told me there's nothing else. And sometimes they're not going to tell you, and then like that comes up and they're like, I gotta go talk. They keep throwing stuff out there. There's been a few times where I try to isolate and then I would handle it, and then they would come back with something else, and they would do it enough. Like we weren't going anywhere, and I would actually stop. Like I'd set my pencil down and I'd be like, Brian, do you actually want to do this? If you don't, that's totally fine, dude. Like you have to give them an out. Okay? Because if they feel cornered, they're going to keep making excuses instead of being direct and telling you they don't want to do it for some reason. Okay? So I just set my pencil down and be like, Brian, dude, like, do you actually want to do this? Because if not, that's okay, but just let me know. Tell me. Then what's that going to do? It breaks down their defensive barrier and they start being a little bit more vulnerable with you. Honestly, dude, like I really do. I'm just kind of afraid. I'm kind of nervous. I feel that, man. Like it's a decent investment. It's not cheap. I totally understand that. It'd honestly be kind of weird if you weren't nervous. At the end of the day, we only grow from being uncomfortable. We don't grow from comfortability in our business. That breeds complacency, right? So this is totally normal. I guess aside from the fear, like, what do you think you should do? Well, I think I should do it anyway. I think it's just a matter of overcoming the fear, right? You know you should do it objectively. Let's do it, man. Right? So you get the concept there? That's pretty much it. Hopefully that was helpful. Anybody have any questions about any of this stuff? Drop in the chat for me real quick. On a scale from 1 to 10, how helpful was this? Was it good? Like, is there a lot of stuff? I hate that all of you guys say 7. Stop it. Stop putting 7 in the chat.
It was 9.99%.
Marlon, what's preventing you from getting to that extra 0.001%?
I just need to talk to my wife.
Is there anything you can do to reactivate people that were said they wanted to move forward and you didn't collect payment right there in the call? But
Yeah. Give me more context. What happened?
So I had 2 leads from ads that I booked a follow call with one. That's tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna hopefully he shows, I'm gonna message him today to make sure he shows up. But then I had another one that said it was moving forward. I sent him over the stuff to pay it to get started. I sent him a message yesterday, no reply. So I'm gonna see like what's the best method of like.
So there's only so much you can do, right? A lot of times people are just gonna ghost for some reason. Some reason they just failed to communicate with you because they were too nervous or whatever. So the only thing you really can do is follow up daily. But after like 3, 4, 5 follow-ups and they're just not responding at all, then usually I just send a message and I'm just like, you can do a couple things. One, you can respond with a voice message or like a voicemail. Try to do something with your voice, not just text, and be like, hey man, haven't heard from you in a minute. I remember you said before you were ready to pull the trigger because you want to achieve XYZ goal in your business and that was a priority for you. If that's still the case, where do you want to go from here?